The account balance reads $9,847 when you first log in. The remaining $153 already gone to a wire fee and a platform subscription you forgot to cancel. You have a spreadsheet open in the other tab, color-coded, 3 months of research, 71 tickers with notes beside each one. You have read 12 books. You are ready in every way a person can be ready for something they have never done. You place the first trade at 9:34 in the morning, 1 minute after open, a tech stock you've tracked for 11 weeks. It moves against you immediately, drops 2% in 4 minutes, and your chest does something you didn't expect it to do. Not fear exactly, something older. Something that knows the difference between a number on a screen and rent. You hold it. It recovers by noon. You close the position up $340 and you feel, this is important, you feel like you were right. Not lucky, right. That feeling will cost you more than any trade you make for the next 6 months. But you don't know that yet. So you write $340 in green marker on the whiteboard above your desk, and you make yourself dinner. The next 3 weeks teach you the rhythms of this thing. You learn that the first hour is loud, and the last hour is loud, and the middle of the day drifts like a conversation nobody wants to be in. You close some positions too early and watch them run another 8% without you. You hold others too long and give back half the gain waiting for more. You keep meticulous records. You review them every Sunday. You adjust. This is the version of you that is doing everything correctly, and it is producing results that are, net of fees, approximately zero. By the end of the second month, you are up $1,200 on paper and down something harder to calculate: sleep, clarity, the particular kind of patience that gets used up when you spend 6 hours a day watching numbers move. Your girlfriend asks if you're okay, and you say yes and mean it, because you're still in the phase where effort and outcome feel like they should be connected, where the spreadsheet with 71 tickers represents due diligence rather than noise you built yourself. The market gives you a gift in month 3, which is the worst thing it could have done. A biotech you've held for 19 days gaps up 43% on an FDA approval you didn't know was coming, and in a single morning, your account crosses $22,000. You have more than doubled your money in 90 days, and you have done it, you tell yourself, through discipline and research and process. And the fact that a single unforeseeable event accounts for most of the gain is something you note and then set aside, because the number is there and the number is real. This is where the story actually starts. You withdraw $4,000, pay off a credit card, feel the specific satisfaction of a balance going to zero. The rest you put back to work. You increase your position sizes. You have earned the right to risk more. Not because you think this consciously, but because your body has recalibrated around the new number, and anything less now registers as loss rather than origin. The whiteboard gets a new entry: $18,000. That is your floor. You don't write the word failure anywhere, but it lives in the space between the marker and the wall. The next 6 weeks are the education you were not prepared to pay for. You give back $4,400 in a single bad week, 7 positions simultaneously, each with a thesis, each thesis reasonable, all 7 moving against you in ways that feel coordinated, but are simply correlated, because you didn't know that when the market reprices risk, it reprices it everywhere at once, and your diversification was an illusion built from confirmation. You sell the last position on a Tuesday afternoon for a loss that brings your total to $14,600, and you sit at your desk for a long time doing nothing, which is not something you do. Here is what you learn, slowly, the way you learn things that cost you. You have been treating noise as signal. The news, the technical patterns, the Reddit threads you told yourself you weren't reading but were, all of it is just weather. And you have been building elaborate systems to predict weather in a place where the atmosphere is made of other people's decisions. The 71 ticker spreadsheet gets closed. You open a new file. 3 columns: name, thesis, size. 10 rows maximum. You make a rule, and the rule is not a strategy. It's more like a personality shift. You will do less. You will wait longer before entering. You will ask before every trade, what would have to be true for this to be wrong? and you will answer honestly. And if the answer comes too easily, you will not take the trade. Your win rate goes up, not because you've become smarter, but because you've stopped taking trades that were always marginal and telling yourself they were high conviction. The marginal trades were where the losses lived. They always lived there. Month 7 is the month you encounter patience as a physical sensation rather than a concept. You go 4 days without trading, not because there's nothing to trade, but because nothing meets the new standard, the one that lives not in the spreadsheet, but somewhere closer to the base of your skull, where your body registers doubt before your mind has named it. On the 5th day, a position you've been watching for 3 weeks gives you exactly the entry you've been waiting for, and you put in your largest single position since the biotech trade, $4,800 in a mid-cap industrial you could explain to your grandmother. You set a stop. You set a target. You close the laptop. It runs 11% in 8 days. Total gain, $731. Not a number that changes your life, but the way it happened, the waiting, the discipline, the closing of the laptop, the not watching, that changes something smaller and more structural. The way you relate to the space between decisions. The way you've started to trust that your best thinking happens before the trade, not during it. The account reaches $31,000 by end of month 8. You have made more in the past 4 months doing less than you made in the first 3 months doing everything. You've started sleeping again. You've stopped checking your phone during dinner. Your girlfriend notices your back, which tells you something about where you were that you hadn't fully registered in the going. There is a thing that happens at this level that you should know about. When you had $10,000, you were playing with money you had saved over 2 years, and the loss of it would have hurt and healed. When you have $31,000, you are playing with money you have made from this, and the loss of it would mean something different. Not financial ruin, but something closer to the retraction of a self-concept, the evidence that the thing you've been becoming was built on luck you mistook for skill. It makes you too cautious in some positions, and not cautious enough in others, cutting winners short to lock in the proof, and holding losers longer to avoid the verdict. You identify this pattern in month 10. It takes 2 more months to do anything about it. Not because you don't understand it once you see it, but because understanding a behavior and changing it are separated by a distance that cannot be crossed with comprehension alone. You change it by making a rule. You will not touch a winning position for 48 hours after entry unless your stop is hit. The rule removes you from the decision. That is the point. You are the problem. The rule solves for you. The account reaches $67,000 in month 14, and you stop telling people about it. There were 2, your girlfriend and your older brother who works in finance and whose opinion you have been half seeking permission from since the beginning. You stop, and the silence around the number is different from the silence around a secret. It's more like the silence around something that has started to belong only to you. Your brother told you 3 months ago that what you're doing is closer to gambling than investing, that you're confusing a bull market for skill. He said it without cruelty, and you know he's not wrong exactly. The argument is real. But you also know something he doesn't, which is what it cost you to get here, and that the framework you're operating in now is not the framework you started with. And so the same word, trading, describes 2 different things when he says it and when you say it. And that distance is not explainable in the length of a dinner conversation. You stop trying, not giving up on being understood. Something quieter, an acceptance that the thing you're doing lives in the doing and not the description, and that spending energy on the description depletes something needed for the doing. Month 18. Account at $94,000. You have a system that is less a system than a set of conditions, a specific intersection of price behavior, volume pattern, and macro context. And the number of times all 3 align is fewer than you expected, maybe twice a month, sometimes once. There are weeks where you open the platform, review the watch list, and close it, having done nothing. And those weeks no longer feel like wasted weeks. They feel like weeks in which you maintain the standard, which is its own kind of return. Month 22, and something changes in the way the market is moving that your body clocks before your mind names it. Volatility has been compressing for weeks. You reduce exposure in 3 positions, not because you know what's coming, but because the reward to risk has shifted in a direction you don't like. And you hold 40% cash, which feels wrong in the way correct decisions often feel wrong when the market is still going up. It goes down. Not catastrophically, but 15% over 6 weeks, and you are sitting with a portfolio down 4% against a market down 15%. You feel something that takes a moment to identify because you haven't felt it in a while. The satisfaction not of being right, but of having been disciplined enough that right had a place to show up. You buy into the correction in 3 tranches over 3 weeks, and you wait. The account crosses $200,000 in month 28. You don't write it on the whiteboard because you stopped using the whiteboard around month 15, when the number stopped being the point. What you orient toward now is narrower, a specific quality of trade that you've learned to recognize, the way you recognize a song from its first 2 notes, not from analysis, but from accumulated exposure to the thing itself. Your brother calls in month 30. You tell him it's going well. He asks a number, and you tell him, and there is a pause on the line that contains several things you both understand without saying. He says, "Good," and means it. You say, "Thanks," and mean that. The conversation moves on. He doesn't ask you to explain the system. You don't offer. The gap between what you know and what you could transmit in language feels like a property of the knowledge itself. The way you can't describe to someone who has never ridden a bike what it feels like to balance. Month 34, $287,000. A trade running 9 weeks. A sector rotation play entered with a clear thesis and untouched since. The stop placed at entry. The target set. The laptop closed with a completeness that means something different from how you used to close it, which was with one eye still on your phone. The position hits the target on a Thursday afternoon. The account moves to $311,000. You sit with that for a moment, which is a thing you didn't do in the early months, when you moved immediately to the next trade as though stillness was its own form of loss. The number is large enough that the person who wired $10,000 into a brokerage account 3 years ago would not recognize it as accessible to them. You're trying to locate the distance between that person and you find it is mostly made up of a single repeated decision. The decision to not act, to wait, to require the conditions to be met, to close the laptop, to stay out of your own way, made hundreds of times against the noise of an instrument designed to make you feel like action is the same thing as progress. The whiteboard is still there, above the desk, cleaned now, nothing written on it. You open the platform. You look at the watch list. Nothing meets the conditions today. You close it. You make coffee, and you drink all of it.